So the House Commission to investigate the January 6th Trump riots is going to kick off tomorrow. Now, as you might remember, this is not the commission that was proposed months ago, which Republicans rejected. This is the new one. This is the one where Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, selected 5 Republicans, and Nancy Pelosi said Jim Banks and Jim Jordan can't be on this committee. They're sort of part of the problem. They should be maybe witnesses more than investigators. And ultimately, Republicans saying, well, then we won't give you anyone, but Nancy Pelosi inviting Republican Liz Cheney and Republican Adam Kinzinger to participate. That kicks off tomorrow. And maybe we will get some more answers to some of the questions that remain about exactly what happened on January 6th. Although the big picture of what happened is pretty clear. We knew at the time, and it was reported at the time, Donald Trump seemed to really like what was going on until there was this moment on January 6th where Donald Trump was reportedly watching, and the low class nature, as he saw it, of his protesters, of the rioters, he felt was making him look bad. That Trump reportedly didn't like. But big picture, Trump seemed pretty pleased with what was going on. We now have new reporting from this book, I Alone Can Fix It, by Washington Post reporters Carol Leonnig and Philip Rucker, where they now are saying Trump was, quote, almost giddy watching the Capitol riot on TV. Carol Leonnig, co-author of I Alone Can Fix It, described the scene in an interview with CNN. Leonnig said Trump was reluctant to call off the rioters despite urging from daughter Ivanka. That also relates to a story that we recently covered. Let's get right into the clip of Carol Leonnig explaining it herself on CNN.
As the attack on the Capitol is occurring, what is Trump's state of mind? What is the feeling inside the White House?
You know, it's amazing because we all lived it. We're in journalism, and America lived it through TV. Mm-hmm. And he is in his dining room off the Oval Office, watching it and almost giddy because, I mean, he does watch a lot of TV, but here he is seeing thousands of his supporters basically trample up to the steps, break through barricades, all rallying for him to try to stop the certification of the election for Joe Biden. And he feels really supported and emboldened by that. And again, giddy. Keep in mind that when these people are, regardless of their intention, when they are storming the Capitol and going through those barricades, they're committing a crime.
Yeah.
Of course he was. Of course he was. This really shouldn't be surprising to anybody. Donald Trump seemed to, at least for some period of time on January 6th, believe these people might actually overthrow the election results, overthrow the government that is set to be sworn in just 2 weeks later, and install me as president, which would basically be becoming a dictator, right? He would have lost, but somehow been installed by force. This is why he resisted sending in the National Guard to stop the riots, despite being asked to multiple times. And we were on a live stream. Many of us were watching it together, wondering, okay, it's 1 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock. Does it really take this long to muster National Guard? I mean, we know we have the biggest military and the best everything. And so it's been 2 hours. And in a situation where clearly you need people to show up to restore order, nobody's showing up. Could it really just be taking this long to get there from Virginia or from Maryland or wherever the case they were stationed? And the answer was, of course not. Of course not. The reason that they didn't show up was because Donald Trump was resisting sending them. And this confirms everything that was being reported at the time. Even if you looked, remember that first video Trump did? I'm forgetting the exact timeline, but it might have been 5-ish Eastern time, where Trump came out and said, it's time to go home. We love you. Paraphrasing here, you're justified in your belief about the election being stolen. The impetus for why you showed up and rioted, this is my paraphrasing, is a good one. It's an accurate one because it was really stolen. But as much as we love you, it's time to go home. Even in that, you could tell Trump was thrilled and Trump was actually supportive of the rioters. And so that further is corroboration. And you have to read the book to look at the full sourcing of it. That indeed is more corroboration of what we already believe to be true. And then lastly, we reported a few weeks ago that Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner are supposedly distancing themselves from Donald Trump pretty significantly. And Carol Leonig's additional insights in the book, along with Philip Rucker, are that Ivanka Trump was asking Donald Trump as the riots were unfolding, you've got to stop this. Do something about this. You've got to do something about it. And Trump refused. And again, if the reporting that we've seen is to be believed, that indeed Ivanka Trump was not pleased about that, that would also be coherent with what has already been reported. None of this is shocking. It's just none of this. There's nothing that we're hearing here where we say, whoa, that's totally out of character with Trump. That just doesn't make any sense. No, the impression we got at the time was that it was because of Trump that authorities didn't show up more quickly. That's exactly the reporting that has come out since. Our impression at the time from Trump's weird video was he liked the rioters. And that is now what Philip Rucker and Carol Leonnig are asserting in their book, I Alone Can Fix It. So none of it is shocking, but there is more detail in the book. The one other thing I would say, when sometimes people write to me, they say, David, like, what's the point of this book now at this point? Well, books take time to write. To expect a book about the Trump riots on January 16th, 10 days later, it's not reasonable. It takes a while to write books. And when you're writing a book and sourcing it and fact checking it and this type of thing, it's going to take some period of time. There were lots of people who weren't really paying attention back then to those reports, and they're now hearing this stuff for the first time. And I do think that that's relevant as well. I know Trump owns the Republican Party. Most Republicans just don't care about this or they won't believe it. But I do think that we're exposing more people to this reality for the first time, and that is worth it. But just an incredible, incredible revelation and completely coherent with what we believed at the time.